I'm Bobby Huynh, and let's queer up the USA view. Boston University pauses pride flag removals after backlash. President apologizes. Boston University has paused enforcement of a policy that led to the removal of pride flags from campus offices. The university stepped back after weeks of protest and faculty concerns about free expression. In a letter to the campus community, President Melissa Gilliam acknowledged the impact of the policy and issued an apology. Quote, "Our university and our policies exist within a larger social context, one that is dynamic and complex. I have heard how difficult and painful that has been. I'm deeply sorry." End quote. Gilliam describes the move as a pause, not a reversal. The controversy began in March when faculty ordered pride flags being repeatedly removed under the, quote, time, space, and manners, end quote, signage rules. Critics argue that enforcement has not been neutral, with some warning that it is selectively targeting expression. Protests spread across campus, and a petition gathered more than 2,000 signatures. The university maintains the policy is content neutral, but for many faculty, the debate over expression and belonging remains unresolved. Now, here it is. I got 2 degrees from Boston University. International Relations Bachelor's, and then another one in International Relations and Communications and Master's. So I spent quite a few years there, and I'm just going to address this through my personal view, and I'll say this, this is an insincere apology, President Gilliam. I believe that you have put together an apology that's more like, I'm sorry you're offended, than it's a genuine apology that makes for anything. First of all, I grew up during the John Silber era. That means I'm old, by the way. For those who don't remember, because, BU is a university, so most of us old ones are gone now. John Silber was a tyrant of an administrator in Boston University back in the 70s all the way into the 2000s, and he explicitly refused to add LGBTQ people under anti-discrimination policy, and he disbanded the Gay Straight Alliance in 2002 from the high school that BU also runs, also known as BU Academy. And he has also literally slandered LGBTQ community, saying that we recruit people to become LGBTQ, which is a slander even in the standard of the early 2000s, not to mention today. So for me, this is a repeat. I can see history repeating. You're tearing out pride flags. When is the time and place and season pride flags are supposed to be? And we don't just put our pride flags up in June, just during Pride Month. Pride is eternal. Pride is year-round. Pride is pride. There's no taking down pride flags. When you take down pride flags, that means you want to erase the representation of LGBTQ community. How dare you, President Gilliam? And go ahead, sorry.
You bring up another important point, like when the former student, when is class out for the spring, for the summer? It's not in June, it's in early May, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So technically you wouldn't even
get to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I know that universities sometimes write policy that makes no sense. Trust me. But on the other hand, this is a deliberate, and even when you consider that quote unquote content neutral. So what other flags are being taken down? I'm guessing certain countries' flags don't take down, but certain territories' flags get taken down.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, every, at least colleges I went to, every club had a flag of some sort. So, my first question was going to be, is there a gay straight alliance of some sort on the campus at the moment?
Yeah,
if so,
they always do.
So that flag could be adopted as their flag. So technically the college would have to allow it to be there. And I would say, well, let's start having all the other clubs put pride flags, put a chess symbol in the center, put a science, symbol, because that will show A, solidarity, but B, also, I love finding loopholes, and that would be a loophole because they couldn't take it down, because if that's your official flag to the club, then if you take my flag down, you have to take everybody's down, including sororities and fraternities.
Well, BU doesn't really have a large Greek culture. In fact, most of Greek organizations are relegated off campus unless you are part of, unless you're staying in a dorm. But BU is very proud of their hockey. That's pretty much it. But
There's other clubs and organizations.
Yeah, there are a lot of other clubs and organizations, but the point is this is not removal from the dorms. This is not removal from student housing. This is removal from just campus offices. Imagine the student life office or, a professor's office. That's why faculty and staff are upset.
But that's what I'm saying. If a faculty member, because every club has to have a faculty member, that faculty member is part of that organization and they adopt a Pride or Pride adjacent flag for that organization, then they can't remove it.
No, I hear you. And I know some people are going to say, Alex, are you wearing your Northeastern colors today because you just want to get in a rib at them and say, I'd hate to be you? No, I would never do such a cheap thing on such an important subject. But in all seriousness, the bigger issue is trying to find loopholes. This is not this isn't Liberty University. This isn't some little backwater. This is Boston. As a former member of the Massachusetts Commission on Gay and Lesbian Youth, who was their higher education chair, what this school is doing is absolutely atrocious. But it's also unfortunate because when you allow private schools to exist and give them all these special accommodations that we allow these private universities to have, they can do all sorts of stupid things like this. The fact that Massachusetts has allowed this to happen, I am very upset with. Of course, the university's being terrible. University's been terrible the last 50 years. They care only about money and trying to get as many applicants in to reject so they can say they have only a tiny acceptance rate. It's terrible to see. I think the students deserve better. I think Boston deserves better. I think that, we as an LGBTQ community should also be aware that these schools don't care about us. This story reminds me of that when they're sometimes this is a story where they want to erase us clearly. Well, yes. But there's also times when they try to co-op us. I remember NYU, they took the Palisades Club, they bulldozed it, they put up a parking lot like the song, and they renamed the parking lot the Palisades to co-op the name. This stuff is just so common with these so-called elite higher education universities. It's just
well, you kind of wonder too. Maybe some of the more conservative donors are having an influence that's not surfacing yet. And,
well, that's another thing. Or was this in some way to capitulate to Trump? Maybe this is actually, maybe we shouldn't call it BU, but the Trump University satellite campus.
I'm like, that.
Hey, that devalues my degree to 99.99%.
Well, it would
sorry,
to nothing because the Trump University is now gone and sued.
Yeah.
So.
I consider Columbia to be the new Trump University, dear.
Well, we hope that things work out at BU and students keep fighting back. There is no other queer nonprofit media platform like this in the entire world. Support our LGBTQ stories by sharing them and subscribing to Queer News Tonight.